Hello and welcome to my video where I test out this £1 21 pack of watercolours against some more expensive watercolours. I was originally going to compare them with the Kuretake, but I decided to go with the Daniel Smiths as per tube they are like £16, so using the dot chart will really show the quality between £1 paints and more expensive ones. So let's see what happens. Okay, so first I did some swatches just to see what colours I was working with, as there were 21 of them. I wanted to make sure which blues were which reds were what. Initially it looks kind of good, like the pigmentation doesn't look too weak, although as we proceed you shall see. Here are the two sketches. They're from the same reference, which is right here that I got off Pinterest. And although the sketches aren't exactly the same, it was more so to make them look similar, as it's the paints I'm testing, not the exactness of the sketch. So I just went in and did as I usually do, which is put down a base layer, and everything seemed like it was going okay, like, you know, putting down that base layer, putting in, you know, slowly starting in to layer up, and it's all is well. Until trying to do the hair, when I realised that these paints are really not pigmented at all. Like, it looks like the hair is the same colour as the skin, but really I was trying to mix the colours just like I normally do, and I want to put in, you know, the darker values down because it helps me figure out how to do the values on the face according to the darkness of the hair. You just saw my hands going ah! And so yeah, this is me really trying to get that, like, a auburn brown kind of appearance, but the paints were not having it. Other than that, like, I was kind of enjoying layering up the face. I really like adding in yellows and warm tones, as you can see I'm doing here. And so the paints were good for that, like, you know, the colours were working well just for the fact that they were not that pigmented. Another thing I realised that you will also see is the way that these paints layer. Like, you have to apply them thinly. Applying them thinly allows you to layer up to a certain extent and the colours cooperate to a certain extent, but the finished look isn't as smooth. They kind of, trying to layer them up, it's kind of difficult. I mean, even here you can see, for example, this is me trying to get the colours and trying to get pigmentation out of it. As you can see, it's just really weak. Like, the amount that I'm scrubbing this palette, all I have to do with the Daniel Smiths is touch them, and it's just really hard. I mean, you'll see in here now when I'm doing the hair and I'm trying to like layer it up, but the paints are almost like, they like cancel each other out, they like remove each other. So I thought, okay, right, going straight with the blue, put down just really dark layers and layer the colours, instead of pre-mixing them, layer them on top. This is a technique I had to try. It didn't, I mean, it helped get a darker tone down, but can you see they don't like mix? It kind of just goes muddy, and then after a certain amount of layers it just kind of like removes itself. Can you see? It just like, it like comes off. And here's me trying to get like a really bright top, you know, to add some colour, but no, it wasn't having it.
So basically I'm waiting for it to dry, but it's not drying. Look, it's wet forever. It's literally, the hair, like, this is still wet. Like, why is it all still wet? I want to use my col-erase to sort this thing out because it won't layer anymore. And it's not drying. I need to get the hair, the hair dry. No! Well, I took the paint off, but it did that. So, yeah.
So yeah, these paints stay damper for longer. That's another thing I learned, and I also forgot that when applying wind or a hairdryer to a puddle of watercolour, it will spread. Basic knowledge was lost in the moment of wanting my piece to dry. Patience is a key virtue. Okay, Prismacolors. Prismacolors are amazing. I love adding like shading and colouring to a watercolour piece. I just feel like it really brings it together. Although a goal of mine is to be able to make a refined watercolour piece without having to rely on outlining or using pencils to do that. But nevertheless, this piece, you know, it's not a rule. Yeah, look at this gloop. This is me adding like water and it's just like ketchup, like, and it applies like ketchup too. This is me like, can I have some fries with this ketchup? Highlights. Highlights are the best. Highlights all day long. They just bring the piece. They pop it. We pop it. Pop the piece. And here we are onto the Daniel Smiths. More expensive watercolours, and just one touch is plenty. Can you see that? Can you see that? You can just see that I slightly touched the paper and the pigmentation was already there. I just went for this, with this piece I tried to go with the same process. So putting the base colour down, as you can see it kind of like the paper absorbs it more. I don't know why, like it's more pigmented, but the paper somehow, it kind of like goes lighter when it's down, which allows me to build and build and build, which is what I do like because I love layering. But I basically tried to be even and tried to do the same thing that I did with the cheap watercolours. And, but just the difference immediately was there. I mean, the whole painting process was so much more easier and forgiving and relaxing and cooperative, and I didn't have to work so hard like against the watercolours. It's like the other ones were just not being pigmented enough for my needs or not layering to how I wanted them to layer, whereas these watercolours were just much more responsive. So yeah, that's something that I was happy with. And here's me, again, just touching. This is a dot chart, so this is a tiny amount of watercolour. I'm just touching it. And finally being able to get that kind of auburn hair look that I was aiming for with the other piece. So basically, I'm trying to do two pieces that are exactly the same so that we can really just see how these paints respond. So let us see. This is always the weird, awkward stage in watercolors where you're like, no one look at what I'm doing right now because this looks like some sort of like mush. It looks really creepy. Hello, hide your children. Look at this. This is scary. But this is the magical Prisma coloring, defining process. This is such a good process. I love defining my lines and lining. Even though, like I said, in the future I would like to be able to watercolor and define my lines without needing any pencils, just with the magic of watercolors. But yeah, that's a future goal to see if I can achieve, hopefully, in the future. Also, as I said previously, I really love adding those yellows and oranges and just that bright glow that yellow tones give a piece, and so using these colours, it just really helped like give that extra bit of brightness that the £1 watercolours can kind of give me. It didn't give me that vibrancy that these did. Another thing that I noticed is the fact that these Daniel Smiths gave a lot more of a smoother appearance, whereas the other watercolours kind of gave more of a patchy and bleedy effect, which I do like, and I know that watercolours naturally bleed and I love the natural effects that they form, but it's just the other ones were less controllable, whereas the Daniel Smiths are a bit more, I have more control over them. Like if I want to be patchy and bold, then that's a choice, whereas if I want it to be smooth, that's also a choice. So there's just more leniency there, there's more control in the matter, whereas the other ones are kind of just like, I'ma be free, I'ma be patchy, I'ma be how I want. Alrighty, so the video is nearly finished, so let me sum up the review. Basically, what I think is that the £1.21 pack, I really prefer how the end result actually looks. I kind of like that rough, sketchy look, and the colours and the tones I just preferred, like the finished look of it. However, the painting process was really frustrating because it just really didn't cooperate with what I wanted to achieve, and I had less control over how the paints were mixing and applying. Whereas although the Daniel Smiths, the more expensive paints, were cooperating and was a much more enjoyable painting process, I think I would have preferred if I went for more of a loose kind of pasty, sketchy look, but that's always a stylistic choice as well, so at least I have that option. Whereas with the £1 paints, I didn't really have that option, even though I preferred how the end result looked. So please let me know which end result was your favourite, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye.